Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us on another terrific Thursday's edition of Talk Today. Not just because we live in the land where we can freely and willingly and with great, I would say, desire and impetus and incumbency speak to the issues involved, including ensure that we all have a part to play because we have our voices and we should say what it is on our minds. Well, those who are joining us, and if you're not online yet looking at our YouTube, not as much as I don't like social media, I'm inviting you, imploring you, asking you, please go on, because we have Shirley, we have Michelle. You want to know who, why, when, why? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard. And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I hope if you're not able to hear me, you'll call and say, hey, you're not quite clear. Let me know. A little bit louder. Let me know. But it is to be involved and included, invited, and welcome at the table so that you know that your space is there, not just to participate, but you have a ownership and a lot at stake. Well, to Miss Shirley. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Sterling. Thanks for having us on today.
And
good afternoon to all of your listeners here and abroad.
Indeed. And it's interesting that as much as we admire the likes of Michelle Lockwood, and I think both of us will look to Miss Shirley and say, what a phenomenal leader. The kind of people that statue in town reminds us of. The greatness of our society, but the greatness of our women in our society.
You're killing me.
No, man. But it's important because...
it's her birthday today, too.
You let me count it. Okay. I wasn't going to do it. It's yours. There are others, but our good friend Bruce Blake's birthday is today as well.
Okay.
And as much as when you hear me sing, you would go, is that me or Andrea Bocelli? And it's hard to distinguish between the two of us, right?
Well, what are we waiting for?
Yeah. Okay, so if you close your eyes really tight and you listen intently, you can hear that there's a difference between me and him. Ready? Okay, I'm going to start to sing now. And I want you to realize when I start singing, I'm going to sing it. You're going to sound exactly like Bocelli. Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Do you hear that? It sounds just like him.
Just like him.
Identical.
Just like him.
It was so good that Michelle put 15 fingers in each ear so she could not hear. Happy birthday, Miss Shirley. And to Bruce, happy birthday, man. Our birthday is one of my sisters. Never wanted to receive on her birthday. She always wanted to give. At Christmas, she would give. I thought, wow. Because in that giving, you receive. And this is where, looking at it, this is about giving to the country, to today's generation, but to future generations. The notion that as we age and as our children come of age, are we willing to step in the gap, to continue that investment that was made by our parents? And that's why we champion you, Michelle. The courage that you had to say this thing didn't look right is important that we take on the big bad state, because many would acknowledge that justice delayed is justice denied. The inability.
I kind of fool because really.
Pull that mic closer to you. I want people to hear you. Just
really,
grab it.
I said I kind of fool to do that because I just jumped into something that I had no idea really and truly what I was doing, except that CPR is a a well-oiled machine that started back in 2018, and then of course as a group we couldn't go to court as a group. It just had to be one person, and I was like, I don't have nothing to lose. Pick me.
We weren't a not-for-profit organization at the time.
Okay.
I don't think. We were I could be wrong. I can't remember exactly what the reason was.
I don't want us to get too much off track, but let me put some cards on the table. The reason I wanted to ask that, and I'm glad that that's come to the fore, is that there's one individual amongst many that I think the country is looking to, and like you, Miss Charlotte, whether we agree, whether we understand, we're grateful, because sometimes we live, travel, and exist vicariously through others. Sometimes we're like the economists talk about the free rider. We're happy for you to go and achieve the win, and we go, yeah, and if you don't, we go, well, that wasn't me. But thankfully, you, like Dr. Steve Myfield, who will share things with us, the importance of our society to know where we are as a people, to understand what it is that is transpiring, so that at the end of the day, you can critique, not be critical, or if you are constructive, but to critique that thing and understand the importance of, one, doing so, and more important, being able to do so. So if we have a system that does not allow, as a simple example, and if this is wrong and has changed, I need to know. If the three of us buy a car, simple car, we're three siblings, we go into the same place, we don't need three cars, maybe because we can't afford it, maybe because we're environmentally conscious, we're economically frugal, whatever. We buy one vehicle. The vehicle can be registered in the three of our names. It can be registered in a corporate entity, but it has to be registered and licensed in one name. Whether we choose to put the three names on the insurance as designated and insured, right? But why? Why can't the three of us own it? We can go down to land registry, buy land, and own it jointly, or we can own it proprietors in common as per our share, up to an X number, and then after that, no more names. But corporately, as a registered entity, we can own it. Why? Just a question, may not be significant. So whether it's the individual representing the larger entity, why can't the entity exist, and if so, how, and what would it take? As an aside, to bring us where we are, a country needs to be involved, informed, engaged to ensure that what transpires is keeping the government in check by complementing and encouraging what they do, or saying, wait a minute, you're going off right? And this is why I think, whether I agree with or not, I've always tried to facilitate what we have. And the person's view that is unlike mine, I want to hear that view, because I know mine, I'm not sure theirs. Back to Miss Shirley, that courage that you have, I hope you all would start to champion it and take a page from your book and challenge you. I don't agree with you, but the same courage to propose or to oppose, but for the sake of the community's well-being, not just for opposition's sake. That is my soliloquy for the second.
Well, that's why when I talk to young people, I ask them to consider getting engaged, because regretfully, I was never really interested in politics when I was younger, and then like there weren't that many people that I knew who were interested and would want to get a group together and try to do something. So it was just like we just went with everything. And then later on in life, I don't know what happened to me, but I guess I said enough is enough. And I don't like the way the country is going, that we don't have a voice, that nobody listens to us. We elect people and they leave us in the dirt or try to mow us down to get themselves ahead. And I was like, no, I want better for the country. I don't have children, but every child in this country is mine. And for them, I want to be a voice. I want to know what I'm signing on to before I give their birthright to anybody else.
And sometimes it's not even, Michelle, that we're giving their birthright. Sometimes we're actually paying people to take it. And worse.
Exactly.
Well, and let me leave that statement.
Yeah.
So.
We're not, but people are taking our money to do it.
Well, they take their children's money, and their children's money.
Yeah.
So what do we do so that, like you just said, right? And many of us have said that. We don't get involved in politics. We don't like politics. The thing is that I want, hopefully, give my parents credit. And people might say, oh, no, you're really maligning them and this. But they allowed us to have views that were different from theirs. They encouraged that. Just 2 rules, as I've been saying publicly. You can disagree, but you got to do so respectfully. No cussing, fussing, and fighting. And secondly, your opinion is just that, your opinion. Your siblings have opinions too. So if you can't listen to what they have to share, be quiet. Let me show you how it's done. And that's what's missing. But the political engagement and unwillingness of our people to do so is to our detriment. It doesn't mean that you're divided. It doesn't mean that you are creating this environment where there's discord. But it means that you have an opinion, and the country's views should form its agenda. It doesn't, but it should. And the politics of the day affect our lives, sadly, not just today, not just tomorrow, but sometimes forever. So, as we come back from the break, would get some old buses here to help me share?
I'll run to the store real quick.
There you, Comart's.
Sorry, leave her in the hot seat.
Comart is just around the corner. You can be right back. Right? We'll get settled. We have a conversation. You tell us why we're here and what we should know or not know and why. All right. Well, Michelle Lockwood, Shirley Rolston are our guests. Join us after the break.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just the delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Shirley Rolston and Michelle Lockwood. Now, for our listeners, it's and I trust and pray that our listeners would appreciate. Know this coughing that Michelle has just happens sometimes at the most inopportune times. You know, everything is fine. Your voice sounds so melodic, and
it's not nerves. I can tell you that.
It's not.
No, it's just well.
Yes, she's had it.
The room, perhaps of the these things on the walls could contribute to it. I'm not saying it does. Sometimes the environmental factors. Sometimes it's just something that happens to me. You just enjoy something a little bit too much, and the next thing you know, it affects your vocal cords. But we're going to hear you, Miss Michelle. Don't worry about it. I did a little bit of talking to give you time to get your pipes warmed up. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think, first of all, Shirley and I are from CPR Cayman, which was a group that was formed in 2018 in response to the then PPM government-led proposal for a cruise birthing facility. CPR was formed because there was a lot of people that were have a lot of reasons to be concerned about a cruise birthing facility, particularly in Georgetown, one of which is the environment, right? But I think that there are larger issues than the environment. And we got together and, you know, we decided that we didn't want the focus to be the environment, or solely the environment. So we formed a new group, which was CPR. That stood at the time for Cruiseport referendum, because we were fighting for a referendum, a people's initiated referendum, which is what we got. We secured a people's initiated referendum. We submitted that on the 12th of June, 2019. It had to go through a verification process, which was fully verified the 11th of September, 2019. So we did. We secured a people's initiated referendum. It never went to referendum because the question that was proposed in October and the date given for the referendum was supposed to be the 19th of December, 2019, which would have disenfranchised. I can't remember what the number of voters were, but there was a certain number of voters who had specifically registered to vote in the referendum who wouldn't have come on the register until the 1st of January. So we took the government at the time, or Shirley took the government at the time, to court to challenge the question, because the question conflated the cruise pier as well as the cargo facility, which our referendum never asked anything about the cargo facility. And we believed it was a sort of an unfair thing to sort of conflate it, because a lot of people know that we rely heavily on the cargo. So I think people thought, if we don't do this, then we don't get cargo, and then we're going to have an increase in groceries and this and that. So we argued that it shouldn't include the cargo facility. And we went and we were granted leave for judicial review, which went in January 2020. And we won on the first instance, but it was overturned at the Court of Appeal level. Because we also were asking, we keep saying the standalone referendum law. I'm trying to make sure that I explain this as clearly as possible, because I don't think people quite understand what I mean. But the way that it currently is, the only thing that is governing referendums is the Constitution, and that's Section 70. So there's two types of referendums. And this is important too, because we have a different type of referendum happening this time. In 2019, we had a people's initiated referendum. In 2025, we have a government initiated referendum. So Section 70 of the Constitution states that you can either have a petition, a referendum initiated by the people or initiated by the government. A people's initiated referendum is binding on the government.
Binding.
People initiated. Initiated referendum, which is what we had secured in 2019, is binding on the government. That means in order to secure a yes or a no vote, whichever way, it has to be 50% of the total electorate. So I think right now it's at 26,000.
This makes it 26, so 13,000 people.
So 13,000 people plus one.
Not 1%, but one individual.
Voter. Right. So that means the onus is, like, I think the amount of people that usually turn up to a general election is 70%, right?
It used to be in the high 80s and it was coming down, right?
Yeah. So that meant that anybody in 2019, that meant that anybody who didn't show up to vote was considered a yes vote for the government initiator, in favor of the government.
A no against.
So if you didn't show up in 2019, had it gone through and you hadn't shown up in 2019, it would have counted as a yes vote for the peer.
A no against the
no, you would have had to physically come in and vote.
Right.
So we had a lot of things stacked against us in 2019. The government-initiated referendum, on the other hand, which is what we have this time around, that's happening on the 30th of April, is it's 50% plus one person of who shows up to vote. And it is non-binding, which is, I know I said this a few times when it first sort of came out, but I think it's worth noting, because I think some people are only just realizing it's non-binding, right? And the other thing with it being non-binding is that we've got an election happening at the same time. So we will have some new candidates, because we have a couple of people that aren't rerunning. But we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
We don't know who's gonna be successful in this. So it's quite scary that we're going to have a non-binding referendum and a new government at the same time that may or may not accept the results of the referendum.
Okay.
And that's on all three questions. That's not just on cruise berthing, because there's two other questions with this referendum.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you expounded that. We have a couple of other questions. If it is sensible to answer no, and if it is even possible no. But we want a caller called in sometime back and asked two questions. One was, if we wanted a people's initiative referendum now, could we do it? Understanding there's a process, as you just explained, getting the canvas in, getting the names vetted and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, I think you need to go to the LA and get it approved, and the government formulates the question. So the timeline might be logistically might not be feasible, right?
Yeah,
is that
the
a
short
fair?
answer is no.
Right.
Because there is no time.
Right.
We would have to formulate the prayer for the referendum. We would have to gather the signatures and do that whole process again.
And I will say that gathering the signatures when we started, because we started in August 2018, and we didn't have enough to go. We didn't hit over that 25% because we need 25% of the total voting electorate to be able to send a people's initiative referendum, and we didn't have enough until June 2019. So that was 9 months.
And it took to September for that.
And then after that, it had to be everybody had to go and reconfirm. Yes, I did sign this petition.
Right.
I think that I can't remember. I think there was like 8 to 10 people that
took their name off.
Or whatever. That took it down to, that took another 3 months. So we're talking, it took us a whole year.
Right. And then the second question, just for clarity, because I think it bears repeating so people are, as best as possible, able to understand the process, right? The other question was, that referendum that you referenced, properly vetted, everything was said. Can those signatures and that process be used now?
I don't know. I think that would require us to talk to legal advice.
Right.
I don't know, because the thing is with this referendum, and this is what I was started off for, is that the only thing guiding referendums at the moment is Section 70 of the Constitution. The Constitutional Commission has said you guys need a standalone referendum law to govern government and people's initiated referendums. I don't believe that there's actually anybody currently appointed to the Constitutional Commission. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I know that was the case towards the end of last year. I don't know if somebody's been appointed since. But when I say standalone referendum law, I mean that says, okay, if you want to initiate a people's initiated referendum, you need to do this. You need to do this, you need to do this. If you want to do a government one, you need to do this.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to, if you get enough signatures for that, then we will do this.
Right.
And certain things that we personally think would be better to make it fair would be campaign finance limits, right?
Yeah.
Right now, we're a small organization, a not-for-profit organization relying on donations to be able to do these media appearances. Shirley and I both have jobs, to be able to be on the media, to do what we've been doing and pay for the things that we've had to pay for, to be able to combat some of I shouldn't say combat, but to be able to sort of put our information out there.
Right.
And I don't say our information as in we've made it up. Our information and everything that we've ever released is based on statistics. It's based on data from the ESO, from the Brea report, from the tourismanalytics.com. Like we're not pulling
out of a hat.
Yeah, we're not making things up in the background, which we've but and then also it's with the campaign finance limits, right? If we think about this, because I'm talking about a referendum law that would guide all referendums in the future. With campaign finance limits, right now, we're the small guy, and the government obviously is the Goliath in this story. But it could go the other way around, right? And you could have somebody initiating a referendum that might have infinite money to back something, and it could be skewed quite the other way, right? So we're just talking about having like hey, guys, you can't spend more than $150,000 or whatever the amount would be.
For everybody.
But
it has to be accounted for equally.
Yes.
Okay.
The same way.
Even Monopoly has instructions, right?
Right?
It does?
Yeah.
Shirley. I love you so much.
So even games have instructions that you have to go by. This is not a game. This is literally.
And I mean, like, to also add to this, the Elections Act has regulations and rules about what candidates are allowed to spend and how they're allowed to spend it and how they have to declare it.
Right. But even to that only applies to what happens before nomination, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
which has its limitations, but I mean, I'm talking about right now. Referendums have nothing, and at least elections have something.
Before we go to the break, can we just ask one quick question? You can elaborate. You referenced that going into the referendum the last time, the cruise and the port were being the cruise and the cargo were being conflated. is that something that potential could be happening now? Right? We can ask that, and then well, let's pause. We come back. I want to hear the answer. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Attention Cayman! Transform your kitchen for less with Granite Express, Cayman's big clearance sale. Until February 28th, get huge discounts on granite and quartz kitchen countertops. Plus, refresh your space with our cabinet respray services for as low as $3,950. If you only want a countertop, prices start at $2,150. Don't miss this limited time offer. Visit Granite Express Cayman today or call 922-0424 for a free estimate. That's 922-0424. Granite Express. Quality stone. Unbeatable prices.
Cocoa Fest is back at Pedro St. James, Saturday 22nd of February from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Enjoy crafts, games, music, coconut-inspired food and treats, health and beauty products, and enjoy local cooks, craftsmen, artisans, and farmers through a shared love of Cayman coconut. Admission is only $15 for adults, and kids 6 to 12 is $5, and 6 and under are free. So go coconuts at Cocoa Fest and enjoy one of Cayman's culture and tradition. Saturday, February 22nd. For more info, email admin@pedrostjames.ky or contact 947-3229.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and certainly invite callers. We got a couple of messages from a caller, and we get more, we'll take it. If not, we'll read what we have. Shirley Wilson, right, and Michelle Lockwood. Michelle, before we ask the question again, perhaps we could ask you to share some of your perspectives, in particular the idea of the people initiative referendum.
Yeah, I'd like to get back to the caller's question about the people initiated referendum and Michelle's point about how long it took us to get the signatures. Basically, Cayman had never had a people-initiated referendum. And so nobody really knew what that was. They didn't know what we were approaching them with. A lot of people misunderstood, thought we were asking them to sign against the cruise berthing or to sign for it. And it was neither. We wanted people to actually have a say in a vote. So that we did have to educate people along the way of what the people-initiated referendum was, and that they would get their day to vote, whether they were for it or against it. So congratulations and thank you to all of those wonderful Caymanians that signed that petition, because you did something that had never been done before. And you should be very, very proud of yourselves, even though the government of the day basically denied you a fair referendum, which is what we were fighting for, is a fair referendum. And in part because that had never, a people-initiated referendum had never even happened in England or in the UK or in any of the territories. So all of the territories were looking at us and going, whoa, you know, we need to pay attention, because this is something that we might have to do someday. And we would want our people to jump in and want to have a say in their country as well.
Right.
So thank you, Cayman, for standing up to have a voice, and don't ever be afraid to do that.
And thanks for those who helped organize it. Now, one of the things that I'm very, very grateful that I transpired and mindful of, there were people who signed the referendum who knew where they were going to vote when the question came. And there were some who didn't know, but they signed it because they thought it was important enough on a national level for the country to have a say. And I thought, that's what democracy is about.
Exactly.
You know, you are on this side of the fence or that side of the fence, and you want that because you want to make your, voice heard. And then you go, I'm not sure. I kind of like it. No, I'm not. But if we don't engage, and I don't want us to lose that. So back to the idea of the referendum and potentially, I ask, are we conflating, right? But can we take this WhatsApp call first? Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Good afternoon, Sterling and your guests.
Good afternoon.
I didn't catch the names and group or representation on the guests.
All right. Well, if you haven't, then I haven't stated enough. From CPR, Miss Shirley Rolston, national hero in presence, and the young aspiring indomitable spirit of the wonderful Michelle Lockwood. How about that?
Okay, great. Good to have that. It seems like the ladies are leading the battles in Cayman this generation, which is
no, they always have.
Well, that's true, but the men are taking a back seat anyway.
No,
but anyway,
the men are complimentary, being the backstop and the support, recognizing the strong mothers, wives, daughters, sisters. Collectively, we're not a chauvinistic, misogynistic society like some not far away. We are people who recognize the importance of unity, of celebrate who we are, man. We're one. And that's just me.
I wasn't saying that as a negative, but as a positive thing.
No, I hear you, but I just saying it directly.
Yeah.
So that people don't miss.
Oh, yeah.
I just scolded him. I said, let you big us up a little bit.
Yes. Well, that's why I was stating it also. But let me just jump to the I heard you talking about the Constitution, which is great. Most people, even though it's the Bible of the country, the rules and the regulations, most people haven't even read it. It's available online, and it's very clear, as you can see. As you've been correcting some of the, the confusion and the misinformation, whatever, about types of referendum and all that. But a people's initiated referendum can be called at any time, as long as, once you achieve the required number of signatures and petition, the petition. But I encourage people to read it. But why I'm calling also, with many references to the referendum in recent months, especially near the election, including issues such as one man, one vote, single member constituencies, if we would possibly like the next government, whoever they may be, or whoever's elected, to address those issues in the Constitution in the future, I think their excuse will be, if we don't do it now, they will say we weren't elected with that as our amount.
Hello, caller.
But I think sorry, can you?
We just lost you, but you're back. Yeah.
Sorry, let me get to the suggestion. I think we should petition the government, or not the government, the candidates, to consider adding to their platform a review or modernization of certain aspects of the Constitution, such as one man, one vote, single member constituencies, campaign financing, whatever the issues may be. I think if we don't do it now, then they probably won't do it for another 4 years, because they would say that wasn't their mandate. So I'll leave that with you. We should all read it, and it's a great document, but it can be enhanced.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thanks. And if you, as you're disconnecting, there were a number of proposals to amend the Constitution. I would want to say now, going close on maybe 12, 15 years, all right? If you have them to hand or know where we can find them, let us know, because that document seems to have disappeared to some extent.
But
so
the Constitution Secretariat should have that. There's a secretariat that should still be existing. They should have all those proposals. But my point is, if we don't get the candidates to say, yes, I'm willing to review it, then they're not likely to jump on it 6 months or a year into their term. They're going to say, no, we weren't elected on a mandate to modernize the Constitution. But if we ask them,
I fully agree with you, but Dr. Steve yesterday said that the minute, and by inference and extension, if you talk about looking at the Constitution, just to review it, just to make sure it's still serving its purpose, are there ways to enhance it? There are those who would castigate a person as looking at being, seeking independence or some sort of power play. Yet it's documented clearly says it should be reviewed every 5 years, right? So your point is valid. My question is there the political will and the courage to do so, or the fear that you may be perceived as power hungry more than someone already are? Just a thought.
But that's what I was saying. It doesn't have to be, it usually doesn't begin with the political will. In fact, they're probably not developed based on political will, but the people's will.
Yep.
So once the people can pressure the candidates before election to commit, yes, I'm willing to review this document, which is very critical, then regardless of what the issues are going forward, they will be reviewed, or they could be reviews.
Yeah, man. Thank you, right?
Just a blanket.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I agree with you, caller.
All right. So the caller's points, and I certainly want to ask about the inflation.
Well, I mean, I kind of I agree, and this is why I was saying we need a standalone referendum law, right? Is that, it's great, it's a great framework, but perhaps, like he said, we can enhance it. I mean, for us particularly, we're mostly concerned with Section 70, and I can't remember what the section is about the environment, but there's a section that grants the right of access to the environment, and I do feel like that is something that is severely lacking nowadays. But like getting back to our sort of stance on this is that we're not against a referendum. We've been accused of being against a referendum. We're not against a referendum. We asked for this to be reconsidered because we felt that, like I said, we needed the standalone referendum law. We needed the legislation. We needed the framework. We needed the things to ensure that this is going to be fair. And it's not just, we're not asking for this for us only. We're asking for this for every referendum that goes forward. And I don't think that that's, like Shirley said, it's like Monopoly. There are rules to the game, right? We're just asking for rules that are very clear, that everybody understands, and that everybody has access to, and that it's not something that is ad hoc, this ad hoc approach to it. Because when we initiated the referendum in June, we had no idea that the next step was going to be, we need to re-verify all of these signatures.
But were they changing the goalposts?
Well, that's it, right? Like, because,
we verified our signatures.
But we verified our signatures. I don't think, and that's
we
the
had
thing.
Way more signatures than what we handed over to the government.
Yeah,
we had like 8,000 or something. I can't remember how many. But when we couldn't verify them, like if we called the person back to verify and they didn't answer the phone, or they had moved or whatever, we took them off the list, and we still had enough.
Right.
Verified signatures to reach the benchmark.
And I was going to say, and even with the 8 to 10 or whatever it was, I know it was nominal, people that retracted their signature on the re-verification process, we still were far above it.
Right.
But I that's all we've ever been asking for is just fairness. We're just asking for the rules to be clearly explained, the rules to be clearly set out, and clear for everyone so that we can have it. Now that we have a referendum, we have no intention of challenging this or stopping this referendum in any way. Now we are encouraging people to ask the questions, and if you don't know, then vote no.
Right.
Because we haven't been given a proposal. In 2019, we had a lot of different things than what we have now. In 2019, we had a proposal. We had a location. We had the amount of money that it was going to cost. We had a drawing. We had specs. We had everything in 2019. In 2025, we don't have any of that.
Right. Well, when we come back from the break, we have 4 questions that we want to ask each of you. We have a comment from a listener we want to read as well. And we're going to invite people to share. And I'm glad for this time because, as you share, can we also again ask, just for added clarity, whether this time around the discussion on a cruise port and a cargo port is that somehow being muddled, right? We use the word conflated, but and if so, can we talk about it? And if you don't think it's important now, that's fine. We don't want to muddy the waters anymore, but unlike the dredging that could take place, right? All right, we're going to pause and take that break. When we come back, Shirley Rolston, Michelle Lockwood, the group, CPR. I say now, citizens promoting responsibility, but yeah, you like that, huh? All right. I got some more of those. Join us after the break.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The Department of Environmental Health, or DEH, and the Flowers Group are excited to announce the resumption of the glass recycling program. Residents are now encouraged to drop their glass waste at any of the 9 recycling depots across Grand Cayman. The glass recycling program in the Cayman Islands was originally initiated in 2012 and was temporarily suspended in 2022. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. Google Maps has blocked reviews for the Gulf of Mexico after criticism of its decision to label it Gulf of America for users in the United States. The tech giant updated the name of the location on Wednesday after U.S. President Donald Trump ordered it to be changed in official government documents. Clicking on the label for the Gulf in Google Maps now brings up a note saying posting is currently turned off. Google also appears to have deleted some negative reviews left in the wake of its name change. And 4-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers is set to leave the New York Jets, the team has announced. 41-year-old Rodgers has spent 2 years with the Jets, but the quarterback suffered a torn Achilles tendon, which disrupted the first season in a game against the Buffalo Bills. Last season, Rodgers made history by having the third-best single-season totals in franchise history, which consisted of 3,897 yards and 28 touchdowns. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac, on the 8th day of July, 1936, Captain Fred Elman Scott was the 5th child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Not only did Captain Scott work the seas for over 52 years, but he was mathematically inclined. In the early 70s, Captain Scott received his first calculator, eventually moving on to computers. After retiring from sea, Captain Scott used his knowledge of navigation, his love for mathematics, and general knowledge to write various computer programs that would impact the lives of the people of the Cayman Islands, such as payroll calculation and a program that could tell the depths at any point of the Georgetown Harbor, which would allow him to give any ship in port the coordinates to drop anchor. However, his pride and joy was his weather program that could detect when a storm formed anywhere in the world and was able to track and forecast its path. To create this program, he first drew the world map by using actual coordinates from the various coastlines around the world, including the most minute coves. This information would be transmitted by his shipping mates from around the world, making him the local reliable source on storm predictions.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
You're invited to tune in to Breeze Radio on Friday, Valentine's Day, for a special Yesteryear Musicals Valentine's Day presentation. At 7 p.m., you'll like it. It's all about love and song. 7 p.m. Friday on Breeze Radio, 105.3 FM in Grand Cayman and 91.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Valentine's Day, make it special.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Back, thank you for joining us, and to Miss Shirley Holston. And, well, there's so many names that we could call her, but, you know, her parents gave her Michelle, and they're Lockwood.
Shiraz today. I like that one.
I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to leave that alone. CPR, and once we get further along, citizens promoting responsibility. That's where we'll.
Yeah, I like that.
That's where we're
like
going to go. Can I read? Well, are there anything else that we want to ask before I read the questions and the comments from our listeners?
I think we have a lot to say, but I think maybe let's just see what they say, because maybe I can tie it in.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. And let's go back. And thanks to those who are listening. And to this listener who gave us some things to share. Please ask the guests if they support any berthing of any kind for cruise ships.
I mean, that's a hard question to answer off the cuff like that. Personally, I think first off, like CPR is our stance is that it's not just about the environment, and I think that's what maybe the caller's trying to get at. Is there a specific location will ever be acceptable? And I don't know what the answer is environmentally, but I think that like I said, CPR came about because we had people that were very passionate about the environment, but there was people that were passionate about it for other reasons. Okay. One of which was the amount of money that was going to be spent in 2019. And at the time it was CI $400 million, right? Okay. That was a proposal. And that's the largest capital works project, I think, that has ever been proposed. Like they've done big projects, like, you know, the airport, you know, the schools and all that kind of stuff. But I think this was by far the largest. And, you know, every single government capital works project has gone over budget significantly, if not double, triple. So if we're talking 400 million, we were probably talking it closer to like 800 million possibly,
that
right?
wasn't excess of $1 billion, right?
Yeah, almost to $1 billion.
Right.
And then the second, well, there's three reasons why CPR is particularly, I don't want to say opposed to cruise berthing, but opposed to, again, I don't want to say opposed.
We have concerns.
We have concerns. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Okay. Is one, the environment? Yes. One, the cost of it. And the third one is the infrastructure and our quality of life. And right now we're talking about our highest level of cruise tourism, as in the amount of cruise tours that were brought to the island was in 2018 or 2019, and that was 1.9 million, right? Right now we're at just over 1 million. So a little, I guess a little less than half, down from 2019 at our height. Can we handle that many cruise tourists? Right? What is our carrying capacity? And I mean carrying capacity in terms of like what is comfortable for our island. Right now, And I know some of this has to do with the fact that there are also roadworks being done. But right now, any day that there's a cruise ship in, the traffic is horrendous. It's horrendous. And so we're talking about, what's going to be the quality of life for every single person that chooses to call the Cayman Islands their home. Right. So I think it's kind of hard to answer that question without feasibility studies, without other information, and knowing whether or not a different location would mean more tourists, and what number we're trying to target. Because I don't think 1.9 was feasible when we were at it, because I think back in 2019 we were probably at an uncomfortable level then as well. So trying to surpass that, and I think in 2019, and I don't know what the number is that the current Minister of Tourism is suggesting, but in 2019 they were talking about going to, I think, 2.5.
Yeah.
So what would that have been, like 600,000 more than what we were doing in 2019? So that's my biggest concern, is that what is it going to mean for my quality of life? What is it going to mean? Do we want mass tourism? There are jurisdictions all over the world that are shutting away from cruise ships now, mega ships in particular, because they don't want
them.
it.
They don't want them at all, or they're limiting them.
Well, we know the Honourable Tom Jefferson as tourism minister back in the 90s. Seemingly from our recollection, what we're told, the industry, at least on Island, was saying, hey, less is more quality over quantity. And we're told in limiting the numbers each day, improve both the visitor experience, but also the spend of everyone.
And then the livelihood and quality
and
of
the quality of life
for everyone.
Right.
And that's exactly it, right? Is that if I was a cruise tourist on this ship, I wouldn't want to be at Stingray City and have my, 5 seconds to stand and have a silly photo. I'd want to have an interaction and somebody to explain to me what's going on with the stingrays. Why do they come here? Why are they, and having a whole discussion. And to me, that would be a much more enjoyable experience. And like Shirley will attest to, I would pay more for that than for me to just stand in the corner, wait my turn, and then stand and do my silly picture and then move on. And that's, I feel like mass tourism is cattle wrangling, and that is not enjoyable. Right. And I think while it might be at its height now, and I think that's one of the arguments, is like, oh, cruise is this and that, and it's the fastest growing whatever. That's all well and good, but that's probably not sustainable. And I do think that the generations that are coming up are a lot more about sustainability. And when I say sustainability, I do not necessarily mean the environment. I mean sustainability, and is what's comfortable for me as a citizen of the Cayman Islands, what's comfortable for the rest of the citizens of the Cayman Islands, what's comfortable for the visitors, and what experience are we giving them. So I think that that's why it's hard to say that we're only opposed to it in Georgetown. We there's broader issues than just the environment.
And there's no guarantee that that's going to be better for us. Right. I mean, the cruise lines, they could decide we've got ships now that are the destination, and we've got our own private islands and our own adventure parks and stuff all over. So that's what we're going to do. And I've asked the question, I've still not gotten an answer. What more do the cruise lines want from us besides cruise berthing? Because there has to be more. Long ago, they told us that we don't have enough attractions.
Yeah.
Right.
And now we've even got less than that, because we've lost a lot of beaches. And, we don't have the whitewater rafting, the zoos, the tropical rainforests, zip lining, and
all that's on the cruise ships now.
And it is. And that's the other thing, too, is that I don't really understand,
So do they want to buy up a whole bunch of Cayman and turn part of Cayman into that for them as well? That's not going to benefit us.
Yeah.
And people need to realize that.
We do have a couple of callers. Yeah. We certainly will ask the other questions and read the comments, but let's take this call as we go to the regular line. Hey, welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Hello, am I on the air?
You are. Thank you so much for calling.
Well, thank you. I will be brief. I'm just fully in support of what your guests are saying. I mean, why do we want to destroy what makes this island unique? It discourages our stayover visitors. It's going to absolutely destroy that beautiful little harbor that everybody enjoys. It still offers great snorkeling, great shore diving, It's what many of us fell in love with years ago, and the reason we're still here. There's so much big money financing the other end of this discussion. What we're seeing in the news happening to the National Conservation Council, it's ridiculous. No one can deny that some of the major influencers on this island have the capital to support and maneuver government to do whatever is in their best interest. Everything that's available for sale in Georgetown is available on the cruise ships, and they can undercut the prices because it's duty-free. What isn't available on the cruise ship is our harbor, our people, the unique experience that we can offer them. That's all I've got to say, but you go, girl.
100%.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling and
Before
sharing
we take the other caller, I think he hit on a point that's really, really salient about the fact that anything that you can buy on the cruise ship. And I think, and that's the thing, same thing with the attractions. Anything that if we added zip lines, if we added whatever, they already have that. They have these massive roller coaster slide things. Like, I mean, if you see some of the pictures of these mega ones that I think is what we're proposing having come here, they don't need to dock. And a friend of mine just went on a cruise, and she said that the best part of her cruise was the days where she was at sea.
It's interesting you share that. I've had friends who've invited, is it what it's called repositioning?
Mm-hmm.
So when the ship leaves, for the winter and goes or whatever, and transatlantic, and they say that's so beautiful. Now it could be the romanticism that they've attached to it, the days of
the Titanic and
I was going to use the example, but
or the QE2 or
QE2,
something,
right?
yeah.
And they're at sea for 3, 4, 5 days straight.
Yeah.
And the dining and the entertainment.
Yeah.
And I go, wow. Now, for those of us who love to be on the water, that must be fantastic.
Yeah.
Right?
I would do that. I would love to do a cruise. I'm not a big fan of flying, so I'd love to go from New York to
Give me a catboat in a day, Bobo.
No. Big ship, please.
No, man. Smaller. Anyway, let me not go astray. Take this call on the WhatsApp. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Good afternoon to Shirley and Michelle.
Hi,
and
Katrina.
to you, Sterling. It's Katrina.
Good afternoon,
just
Doc.
wanted to
Dr. John, welcome. Thank you.
Just wanted to call in briefly to just support everything that Michelle and Shirley are saying, and just wanted to remind the public that although we have not been given any information, we're being asked to vote in this referendum on whether we should have cruise pier or not. They have given us no information. However, what information we do have is extensive environmental impact and business case reports from between 2015 and 2019. And in the absence of any other information, we have to assume that that's, the information we've got to make our decision with. They have suggested that everybody is still looking at Georgetown Harbor as the location. That's what all the cruise line executives said in the Ministry of Tourism's videos that they shared the last few weeks. So just to remind people that is going to cost us in repayment over 25 years. Back in 2019, it would have cost us at least 400 million CI. That's not including any runover in construction costs. And all the supporting infrastructure that would be required is not included in that. That was $500 million 5 years ago. It's probably close to $1 billion now. Also, we would be dredging at least 22 acres of Georgetown Harbor. We would be directly removing at least 12 acres of coral reefs. We would be destroying everything that the previous caller, the reason that, all that makes Georgetown Harbor such a charming town and place for tourists to visit, somewhere that has accessible shore dives and snorkels and beautiful crystal clear water that we all, have access to enjoy. So I just really want to encourage everybody to, in the absence of information, remember we do have that information, and that's probably pretty close to what the government would bring if they were to bring forward a cruise pier in the future. And really, I think that the other side has been really scaremongering. We have had a dramatic drop in numbers compared to 2019, but of course, let's not forget, how can we forget? The pandemic is the reason that the numbers dropped off so dramatically. Cayman took a really strong stance to protect our people, stood up against cruise line pressure for their convenience. And you know, like, yeah, everywhere the cruise industry shut down temporarily. The data shows that, you know, Cayman, well, other islands that do have piers are also experiencing a decline from the 2019 figures. But also just to point out that Cayman is still number 6 in the region. Like, we still have 1 million cruise passengers arriving, along with record-breaking, you know, it's like our third best period for stayover arrivals. So I think we need to take this, you know, really holistic look at what we are, what future we want for our island. Do we want to have 2.5 million cruise passengers crowding our streets and our beaches? Do we want that, or do we want to continue to like craft a, you know, boutique Cayman kind experience for our cruise and stayover tourism passengers? And there's, you know, at 1 million passengers a year, number 6 in the region still, we are still in a very strong position to be able to create that tourism niche for ourselves that doesn't compromise our quality of life and is, you know, truly beneficial to everybody in Cayman. I'll leave you there. Just wanted to add that, and I'll be listening, Shirley and Michelle, and look forward to your comments.
All right. Thank you very much. Ms. Shirley or Michelle?
I think just to add to sort of what Katrina's saying, you know, she was saying that there are other jurisdictions that have piers that actually are in decline as well too, like St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. They have all have piers and are all already experiencing significant declines. And like she said, we're still number 6 in the region for cruise arrivals, and the 5 destinations which have higher numbers than us, 3 of these are significantly larger jurisdictions. So that's Bahamas, Cozumel, and Dominican Republic, which also even have multiple piers and multiple ports. Bahamas obviously sells quite a lot of its like smaller islands as boutique. I don't know if that's included in that number. And Turks and Caicos, one of the smaller islands, is only just barely ahead of Cayman at 1.1, and we're at 1.07. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think, yes, cruise arrivals are down from 2019, but we need to talk about, like she just said, holistically. You need to think about this in the wider picture. We need to critically look at these numbers. In 2019, the government was saying only 1% of the reefs in the Cayman Islands was going to be affected by the dredging and the removal of coral reef in the particular project at the time. That's a lot different than saying 100% of the reefs in Georgetown Harbor will be affected. So I just think we can't just look at raw numbers like that. We have to critically look at them and critically think and look at the wider
Do proper economic analysis.
Whole picture of it. You know, and the other thing to know about this is that, and this is in you know, and because I've been accused of just making up data, I'm not talking about this, you know, off my hat. This is the economic impact of cruise tourism in the Cayman Islands, prepared by the Economics and Statistics Office,
which is a government entity. And this was the report that the Minister of Tourism was using when he was making his speech about preparing for a referendum. You know, if we're looking at more boutique cruise lines, we've actually gone up in terms of the cruise lines. The more boutique ones. Carnival Cruise Line did come down, right? So we're talking about the first 2 full years before COVID, we were about 40% was Carnival Cruise Lines. In the 2 years following, it's gone down to 30%. But Celebrity Cruises has gone from 6.8 to 16.1%, right? So Disney Cruise Line has gone from 6% to 11.7%. So we're getting more calls from these nicer more boutique, smaller cruise ships. Like Norwegian, I think MSC and Disney are all saying that they're talking about making smaller cruise ships. So we don't necessarily have to look at this like, oh, well, we're down, so that's it. But it's like, well, how about we look at the whole wide picture and kind of step back? Yeah, architecture talks about less is more, right?
Yeah, because we can't just like microscopically go in. Oh, well, we're down 40%. We're in panic mode. We're just the whole jurisdiction, like not, you know, yes, some jurisdictions are experiencing exponential growth, but some that, like I said, Bahamas, Cozumel, and Dominican Republic are like they've got much bigger destinations, like bigger jurisdictions and peers. So we have to look at this way more holistically.
Right. We do have another caller, a guest from CPR, Shirley Rolston and Michelle Lockwood. As we go to our phones, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling. Good afternoon, Michelle and Shirley.
Hey,
Good afternoon,
welcome. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I love the conversation, and thank you, Katrina, for your contributions earlier. I was listening. One of the key things that we keep overlooking, and to Michelle's point, and to Katrina's point, and Shirley's point, we are definitely being scaremongered into thinking that we'll have no crews if we don't build a pier, and that is absolutely false. And one of the main reasons why the government don't want to carry out the exercise to do a comprehensive study to find out what our carrying capacity is because maybe the numbers that we are getting now, even with the decline, might be above what our carrying capacity is.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we are prepared and ready to maintain an authentic quality experience for all our guests, no matter what sector they're coming in, then we're not willing to do what's best, and certainly not in the best interest of the tourism product. Because if we're saying that we want to have a referendum, which everybody in Cayman know that it's a botched referendum, and it shouldn't be taking place. That in any event, if we were to look, let's take COVID-19 for instance, right? As Katrina reminded us, that during that time period, we had zero tourism, right? And somehow, somewhere, we survived. Not saying that that's something that we want to continue or we want to encourage, but let's look at the statistics that Michelle spoke about. If you go to the ESO website, and it's on a government website, these are numbers that they actually had in the Family Life Center down on South Sound, on Walker's Road, when the PPM government was advocating for this pier. They had a big signage that stated that 80% of all revenue that comes from tourism comes from stayover. But the thing that really caught my attention, not only that the stayover was responsible for 80% of the revenue, but the stayover was only responsible for 20% of the head count that came annually. So you telling me that 20% of the people that come to our shores on an annual basis come as stayover tourism, but they generate 80% of the revenue generated in tourism? So I'm not telling you that we shouldn't be putting some emphasis on creating a quality cruise experience, but if we have put that amount of emphasis on cruise, then we must be losing our minds over stayover. But somehow I don't see that. I don't see us going to the extra mile to accommodate a quality experience, not only for our stayover, but also for our cruise. And for us to believe that we need a pier, and let me tell you all this. I've been to Falmouth, Jamaica. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Alabama. I saw the pier that they built in Alabama that they never used. Carnival Cruise Lines, Royal Caribbean, made Alabama, built one of the most glamorous ports in America because they wanted to change the home port from Miami to Alabama, but it never happened. A cruise line has yet to go to that port, but it was built, and it cost $200 million to build, too. So, again, I don't know how much conversations we need to have in order to convince not just the government, but the residents and the Caymanians and the people who really hold Cayman at heart, that we don't need a pier to be able to share into the cruise industry, because 60% of all of their revenue globally comes from the Caribbean. Every single Caribbean island, with a pier or without a pier, is just as important as the other, because they depend on selling tours at our jurisdiction to get people on their ship to carry them to the Caribbean. And until we understand what our value and our worth is, we'll always be playing second fiddle to the cruise lines, always. And as Michelle said, when you look at the numbers that are provided by government, why us the regular citizens got to be fighting the governments with their own statistics? I just don't understand why we are having this conversation after the grand efforts of the people of this country. Shirley and Michelle, we are still being massively disrespected by the government because everybody went out and dedicated their time and effort to get these signatures in order to meet the requirements of our Constitution, right? And they still haven't been able to honor the efforts that were made by the people in order to trigger the required numbers, to trigger a people-initiated referendum. And we're still not getting that. We're getting a washed-up version of the government's referendum. Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I mean, Cayman got children that are starving today, that when they go home, the lights off or the water not running. And we over here talking about building a pier in our harbor so that we can flood our streets and create a bad experience for overall tourism product. I mean, what kind of banana republic is this?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I can go on and on. But Shirley, Michelle, I thank you for your continued bravery to fight for what's right. And, you know, believe me when I tell you, the people who are for the port are far less than the people who are not. So don't lose no sleep. We're going to vote this thing away. All right? You all have a good day.
I appreciate
All
you,
right.
Mario,
Thanks for
and I
listening,
appreciate
man.
your championing the cause.
And what Mario just hit on a point that I haven't said yet, but, you know, we've also been accused that we're not for, the experience that the cruise tourists are currently having. Now, I don't think any of us, we actually had a meeting with the Minister of Tourism, and he was then the Deputy Premier, Dwayne Ebanks, in August last year to discuss this. And one of the things that was asked was, but you agree we need a pier? And I said, I don't think so, but I think if you want to find a meeting ground of where we could agree with ACT or any, pro-pier cruise lobbyists, is that I think we all agree that status quo is not okay. So CPR is not against enhancements or improvements to the facility. We just don't necessarily think that building a massive facility, cruise berthing facility, is necessarily the answer. So status quo, not okay. We definitely need to improve things. We definitely need to provide shade. We need to provide, and I don't even know where all the wait times are from. I don't believe that a pier would necessarily alleviate some of these things, because they're, it's not like they're just walking off the ship. This is still immigration that has to happen. There's still a process that has to happen.
They'll still have to walk from where the cruise ships now anchor.
So I don't think that, that's necessarily going to improve things. But yes, I do believe that things need to change, and we do need to provide a quality experience for people coming off these cruise ships. If that's a cruise berthing facility, I'm yet to be convinced. So I think that's a very clear message, is yes, we do need to enhance things. We need to enhance the cruise tenders. We need to enhance what happens on island. But yeah, we don't necessarily need to be running to be into a massive capital works project that's going to cost us at least $400 million. And that was 5 years ago. Inflation is up again. So who knows how much the actual number would be.
We're not managing properly what we already have.
Exactly.
And that is a big problem.
So visitor experience is crucial.
Yeah, and Caymanians are underselling themselves, because
of course,
if one operator says they're going to charge $15 a head, then the cruise lines go to the next one. They go, I'll do it for 12.
Yeah.
And then they go to the next one and they'll do it for 8. How is that helping our people? That is not helping our people, and Piers is not going to fix that.
And to tack on to what she's sort of saying, my understanding is, and I haven't been, is that currently, say a tour, the cruise company sells a tour for $100, $40 of that is what goes to the cruise operator in the Cayman Islands. Yet that cruise operator in the Cayman Islands has to take 100% of the liability for that tour, and they're only getting 40%. And the cruise line is taking 60%. Now, I'm not saying that the cruise line shouldn't take something, because they've obviously, done some marketing and selling to that the cruise operator wouldn't have to do. But I think that number could be closer to 5 or 10%, or even 15%. Yeah. Like 60% of the tour.
All right. We do have a break. We certainly have the phone lines open and other callers are here. So we'll pause, take a break, and join the callers after. Stay tuned, please.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Looking for ways to save energy and learn more about sustainable living? Visit empoweringcayman.com. Explore inspiring stories about our history, practical tips, and the latest updates on how COC is prioritizing affordability for customers. Be a part of the change today.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments February 22nd to the 28th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited whether you're seeking advanced skin care, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles. Dr. Wayne Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email Dr. Porter Cayman at gmail.com. That's drportercayman@gmail.com. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with Valley Med Pharmacy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, to Miss Shirley Rolston and Michelle Lockwood. I hope that men in our society will continue to have the courage and be encouraged by many like you, because it's that respectful, responsible discourse that we have publicly that helps us to be reminded of the importance of our democracy. We do have a number of callers. I know you have stuff to share. You've been so gracious with, what you shared, but also taking the calls. So let's go to our phones. We'll do what we can. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. And good afternoon, Shirley and Michelle.
Good afternoon.
I made it a special point to tune in today when I heard they were coming on. And first of all, Shirley and Michelle, I'm very proud of both of you. I've supported both of you and the rest of your team when this thing first came about. My position has not changed. So you have my support on what you're doing.
Thank you.
And just in case the Minister of Tourism is listening, I just want him to know that what I'm about to say is not personal. But I will never support interference with Hogstay Bay. God gave us that. That is a natural harbor. I do not believe in interfering with nature. I don't think anyone has even brought this up. We have that golden yellow sand out there. No one can tell us why that sand is that color. You could suspect it's from corals and so on, but it is unique. And that little patch of harbor is also unique to Grand Cayman. We cannot afford to take the risk that they want to take. We as Caymanians, we have a say here. We don't have to sit back and stay quiet anymore. And I can tell you what I have now experienced is that a lot of people who have never voted before have told me they're waiting for election day to go out and vote no against it. And I'm so happy to hear that. And the other thing that I want to say, I realize I have a lot of callers looking at trying to justify doing this is an insult to any of us that possess any intelligence. If we want to increase tourism, we need to start with stay over tourists. Try to bring them back. Try to offer them Cayman. They have left us because they're not seeing Cayman or Caymanians. They have come here, and what they're finding is exactly what they left behind. That's not a selling product. You're not going to sell anything if you don't market that properly. Every other island you go to, the first thing you're going to meet on the front line, in the middle, and in the back are the people from there. You can ask them any question about their island. They know the answer. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening here. I have also been on a cruise, and what I can tell you is that all of those places did not have pairs. And it was a cruise of the Greek islands. And their most popular island, they don't have a pair there. And they've made it very clear. They're not putting one there because it's going to destroy their coral. And it has not stopped anyone from going there. We do not have an opportunity to correct this when it goes wrong. We are not Jamaica. We're not the Bahamas. They're bigger. They have more islands. Jamaica's bigger. Bahamas has more islands. So when something goes wrong there, like it went wrong in Jamaica, the Bahamas, Antigua, and the other places, who have warned Cayman and told them not to do this. At least they have other options. We do not. We cannot afford this risk. And I hope that all of the Caymanians, regardless of where they work, will understand that this is a risk that is too big for us to take. Dwayne, I could go on and on, but it would mean I have to take your job. So I have to stop at some point.
Can I offer it to you next time?
Well, I'll come and co-host it if you want. But just to reiterate to Shirley and Michelle, you have your support, okay? So
Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks very much. And I know I should have reminded our listeners that our guests exit at 2. Don't like to, but we got a couple of the calls. Could you allow me to say to the listeners? Our call is going to be as brief as we can. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yo, Mr. Dean.
My friend, how are you?
All right, sir. Yes, sir. First of all, thank you for the guests, them, for telling the truth in the numbers and what really, what would happen if we really decided to build a port. Thank you very much to the two ladies up there. You got my support.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
One last thing. What you think about that? Instead of us building a port, why you don't think that we go and we buy back one of them Concords? Call it K Concordia or something. So let's just say we do that and we legalize airplane, seaplanes, instead of trying to spend this money where we don't have or try to mess up our good little clear blue waters.
Yeah, there's lots that we could do. I mean, we just have to think outside of the box and not put all of our eggs in one basket. That doesn't have any guarantees for us because the cruise lines are multi-billion-dollar entities, and they can spend hundreds of $millions, as Mario said, and walk away from it, and it doesn't affect their bottom line. But we can't do that when we've destroyed what we have. There's no turning back, and we have to make sure that our guests, whether they're stayover or cruise, have the most ultimate beautiful experience here. But we also have to make sure that our Caymanian people are the beneficiaries, the major beneficiaries of the monies that come in here from both. And we're not managing what we have already. We're not managing what we have properly. I had stayovers yesterday on a tour that told me they asked at their hotel where was a good place for them to have lunch, and they were told Hard Rock. Hello?
Yeah.
Hard Rock has been gone for I don't know how long, but we're not managing the tourism products that we have right now, and we don't have a proper tourism plan to even say this is what our tourism is going to look like. Tourism, not this is what our cruise tourism is going to look like, and this is what our stayover tourism is going to look like. We need to know what our tourism is going to look like, and we need to enhance the experience for both of those sectors. And the Caymanians have that do the tour operating here. They have to be the beneficiaries, not the cruise lines.
All right.
Yes, I believe so, and I would like to just reiterate. Please think about let's buy a Concorde again, because the reason why they took that out is because they don't spend that much gas to get where they gotta go, and they get where they gotta go faster. And that way they expand our tourism. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Thank you for calling.
All right, let's take a couple of other quick calls. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Hello, am I on?
And you're on a WhatsApp call. Yes, sir.
Well, thanks very much. First of all, before I say what I have to say, can I just confirm with your two honored guests if government has accepted the policy that there should be a standard referendum law?
I don't think so. We've requested it numerous times, but I don't think it's on the agenda, and I don't believe so.
Okay. Yeah, I don't believe so either, but I just wanted to make double sure that that was so. First of all, the mere fact that they are refusing to have that law is indicative that they do not want the people to have their voices heard, and so that they can know exactly what to do when an issue like this arises. That in itself, in my view, is a sign of bad faith. You see, I want to talk about a little bit about, I know I got only 2 or 3 minutes. I want to talk a little bit about the appointment, the Environmental Council and what they've done to it. But first of all, about the cruise pier, I just want to go farther out and talk about the related issues. This is a time in Cayman, right, when people are not just worried about status grants and all that, but they are worried also about population growth. They are worried about overdevelopment. They are worried about Caymanians having become a minority in your own country. A person like me who came to Cayman hoping I would make a life, I found basically I was duped because I found Caymanians were not in charge. I should have pitched my tent maybe with the other people who came to Cayman. Rights of way, which I was involved a little bit in with the Concerned Citizens Group to try and protect, are being destroyed. Traffic, you name it. And in the face of all this, what does the government want to do? It wants to foist upon the people this cruise, this birthing facility or whatever it is. They want to do that. And then some of the things they are saying is, well, you see, the tourists won't come. I think you have shown that actually that will not be the case, because that is from the statistics you have given, that this has not happened in other countries. And then the other one, this one, I love it. Oh, there will be jobs for Caymanians. Mm-hmm. Now, that is not going to happen. You and I know that, because the chances are that 80% of the work permits which are going to be given there, or 80% of the workers there, probably somewhere around there, are going to be from outside. You remember what happened with COVID? When people left the island because of COVID, they said, oh, this is a very good opportunity so that we can give jobs to Caymanians. What happened? After COVID ended, there were even more work permits. So all that they're trying to sell, and I'm happy that you are not buying it. Finally, let me conclude on this. You see, they have tried to amend the law, right? They tried to amend the National Conservation Law relating to appointments and other things. Now that they failed to do that because there was so much opposition, what they failed to get through the front door, now they want to get through, or they've gotten through the back door by amending the law, okay? By rather changing the composition of the council. That is bad faith. Okay, they have given excuses. Some of these may not have made public, but I had talked today with somebody in government. They said, well, these people serve at the pleasure of cabinet, which is nonsense. That is not true, because it says that what they have done under the law, they can only do in exceptional circumstances. And they haven't explained what these exceptional circumstances are. And they try to say, well, because the people on the board were standing in their way. They were not standing in their way. They were doing their job. And there's nothing exceptional about a conflict in government. To me, they have arguably abused their power. And in my view, there is a perception of corruption. There is a perception of corruption why they have been removed. By the way, corruption doesn't mean just paying somebody money to do something. Under the anti-corruption law, section 13 and 17, breach of trust and abuse of office also are corruption. Now, I'm not saying that anybody in particular is corrupt. I'm saying there's a perception of corruption. And that is the way, for example, OECD defines corruption, because it is very difficult for you to prove it. But once there's a perception of corruption, then government must listen and try to do something about it. I think this is all. Try to vote these people out, but that's not enough. You need constitutional reform in the Cayman Islands. And what you are doing there, you need to continue doing that and do it even more so that there can be real change in Cayman. Otherwise, even the election, I doubt very much, without these other changes, that it will be able to achieve accountability in Cayman. I thank you. I've taken too long. Thank you.
You're most welcome, and respectfully, we'll take the quick final break and then the calls. Stay tuned.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office. Who? Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Britke. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mark Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
Vendors. Last call for vendors for Grand Cayman's biggest one-day family fun day. The 56th Annual Agriculture Show. Position your business and products in front of tens of thousands of people in one day at the Stacy Watler Agriculture Pavilion in Lower Valley. Ash Wednesday, March 5th. Contact Kelly Holding on 623-8822 to book your vendor stall today. The 56th Annual Agriculture Show, Ash Wednesday, March 5th.
Sale, sale, sale. Red Friday sale is Valentine's Day, February 14th at Reflection. Save on kids, men's and women's selected style shoes and sneakers. Brands like Nike, Puma, Reebok, and Dockers, 50% off. Adidas all collections at 60% off. Ladies jeans and select styles at 50% off. And ladies tops from $9.99. Men step out in Levi's $5.50. Now 25% off. All accessories and handbags now 50% off. Reflections, we love our customers and you love our prices. Shop the Red Friday sale this Valentine's Day at Reflections and be entered to win 2 Cayman Airways tickets.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and to Shirley Wilson and Michelle Lockwood. Thank you. Hopefully, this will be many discussions from this side, that side, next side, all sides, no matter what, and who hosts, facilitates. Will still be the same activity. Before you end your discussions, we do have 2 final calls, so we could quickly take if there are callers who cooperate. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I am good, Sterling. Thank you so much for taking my call. This is Joseph Woods. I used to work at the port. And I'll say hello to your 2 panelists as well. And hello. They offer a perspective on cruise, but likewise, I can offer some really good insights on cruise for you. And there are 3 areas that I want to talk to today because cruise is so big. But
Mr. Woods, I want you to say what you want to say, but I was trying to, I could not answer your call because you were on air, but I tried to send a message. It didn't go through, so I sent it to somebody else. Tomorrow, not too soon, we have one side. Would you guys want to come on tomorrow? And you can have the same venue, the same opportunity.
No. I just want to make 3 comments on 3 things that were said there so that people who are here today will be able to consider these 3 things.
Yes, sir. But what I'm also asking, because I couldn't reach you just now when you called, I couldn't answer. Would you or any of your members of your group would like to come on the show tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because you just said no, so I'm hoping that you didn't misunderstand my ask.
No, I was saying no. I didn't want you to cut me off. I thought you were cutting me off.
No. You see, anyway, you go ahead, and we'll see you tomorrow, but make your points now, because we're listening.
Yeah, right. So there was a point about 80% of the revenue coming from 20% of the business being stay over. And that's if you're not considering where the revenue is actually going. Because the stay-over revenue consists of airfare, hotels, restaurants, that sort of stuff. But cruise is mainly just geared to excursions. They come in, they want to go Stingray City, they want to go Turtle Farm, they want to go to the beach. So if you focus on comparing apples to apples, you would compare the stay-over revenue in those areas against the revenue from cruise. Turtle Farm has already abundantly made it clear that the vast majority of their revenue comes from cruise. It comes from the excursion side. Now, 500,000 stay over cannot give you the kind of revenue and excursions that 1.9 million cruise passengers can give you. That's the first point. I have to say no more on that one. The next one I want to talk about is the environmental side. Now, for 50 years, you've been having cruise ships dropping anchor, and in 55 feet of water, 5 times 5 is 25, so about 200 feet of chain they got out. You know, if you've had experience going out in your little boat and you drop your anchor in 50 feet of water, you're probably putting out 150 feet of rope or so. They got put out even more. And when you go pull it up, you're not pulling it straight up from where you pulled it, because as you start to pull it, you will drag. And you've had 50 years of cruise ships dragging anchor on the bottom in the harbor. Do you think there's any coral left there to damage? Not a drop.
There is.
Not a drop.
There is.
Now, where the vast majority of the coral was against the shoreline, where Cheeseburger Reef and all them are. And the port anchorage area extended from the wharf, from the shore by the wharf, going right out to the drop-off, and past Eden Rock from shore to the drop-off. We gave up all of that coral in there to become a marine park. And the port regs were amended, and DOE, if you go on their map, you will see the marine park extends along that line where the vast majority of coral is. But if you drop an anchor, I guarantee you there's no coral there. The other thing is, the pier was going to be built on pilings. So you're going to drill holes into the ground, put the pilings in, and put the pier on top of it. Water flows across it. Not having a cruise ship anchor and berth only gives the bottom a chance to recover because there's no more anchors being dragged on it. But the next thing I want to compare is that to stay over, which you all are advocating that we should focus on. Now, you look at 7 Mile Beach from the Wharf Restaurant, go straight to 7 Mile Cemetery. What is there left of natural habitat? Not a drop. And on the mangrove side, the vast majority of that's gone now too. So stayover has been more harmful to the environment, in my opinion, than the little piece of cruise pier that's going to go in the harbor. So there's no way that you can say that stayover is any better. The other thing is stayover generating far more garbage, filling our landfills, is causing CUC to have to buy more generators, which means more pollution, but also means more cost to us because that capital expense is shared amongst us all. And that's required in order to cool all of those rooms. The other point that somebody made was, there's no Caymanians at the front line. Well, you know why? Because they're minimum wage. Caymanians all flocking to cruise because they can make a good payday at the port. But they ain't making it at the hotel. And if they had to take up a job in the hotel, they're going to get paid minimum wage or maybe less. Because I understand some people get paid less. So and you can say you want Caymanians there all you want, but no Caymanian is going to work for that price. Had it been so good, Caymanians would have been there a long time. So that's basically all I had to say today on that issue, because honestly, you really need to look at it from a balanced perspective and not just from one where you're totally against it without understanding it. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Woods,
you go, Shirley.
So, Mr. Woods, first of all, I'm a snorkeler and a scuba diver, and where the cruise ships anchor is close to the drop-off, where there is actually reef that grows down. It doesn't grow that much up onto the sand flats in the harbor. It grows down. And that's not where our tourists or our locals go snorkeling or diving. So the damage that has been done there was done from when the first cruise ships started anchoring out there, and that damage is contained to those same anchorages. It's not like every time they drop the anchor, they're destroying more coral reefs or whatever. What the damage that has been done from the cruise lines does not affect our tourism. It does not affect our protection from hurricanes and bad nor'westers. And so my point on that is that damage was already done, and it is not a part of our tourism product. Yes, if we could have mitigated that and not had that damage happen, that would have been a beautiful thing. But it is what it is, and we can't continue to damage even more by building piers. And for a second of all, how do you know that you can actually build piers on pylons out in that harbor? Because there's been no geological survey to see if the bottom could even sustain that. As a diver and a snorkeler, I know that there's caves all underneath the Iron Shore, all down Eden Rock, down towards Seaview, Sunset House. And likewise, I know that there's caves underneath the drop-off in many places around the islands, not just Cayman. Okay. And so until those kind of things are done, we can't talk about what kind of piers we can have out there.
Respectfully, sorry, Miss Michelle, I don't mean to. We just got to take that break. I'm going to have my own show. So we're going to do the news. I know you have to leave. Can you stick for a second and say your point?
Yeah, I have things to rebut.
Yeah. All right, stay tuned.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market. Auditor General Sue Winspear is stepping away from the role this month after 9 years in the position. Her last day is February 28th. Learn more at auditorgeneral.gov.ky. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. 2 British nationals, a man and a woman, have been arrested in Iran. The Foreign Office has confirmed. News of their arrest first came from state-run media in Iran, which said they were in custody in the southeastern city of Kerman, accused of unspecified security-related offenses. It did not name them, but published a photograph of them with their faces blurred, meeting the British ambassador, Hugo Shorter, at the prosecutor's office in Kerman on Wednesday. And merger talks between Honda and Nissan have collapsed after the firms failed to agree on a multi-billion-dollar tie-up. The Japanese car makers, along with junior partners Mitsubishi, had aimed to combine their businesses to fight back against competition from rival firms, especially in China. The merger would have created an auto group worth $60 billion and the world's 4th largest by vehicle sales after Toyota, Volkswagen, and Hyundai. The companies said they would continue their partnership on electric vehicles. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Freedom, Cayman Brac. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to Shirley and Michelle for sharing. And thank you for the extra seconds. I know you've got to get back to work. I'm at work.
I'm at work, yeah, I have work to do. But I just want to say the caller previously was making this point about, the difference between a stayover tourist and a cruise tourist. And, they're saying, I don't know if he said it in his particular thing, but I have heard him say this previously, that, like stayover tourists they don't go to Stingray City multiple times while they're here, and they don't go to the turtle farm multiple times. But that's not, if you're talking about comparing apples to apples, stayover tourists are here for probably 4 or 5, maybe even a week. They can go to all attractions. Cruise tourists can only go to one attraction, right? So if you come off the ship, you've got limited amount of time. You can only probably go to Stingray City, which is the number one attraction. I don't think that that's any fault of the Cayman Turtle Farm, but everybody wants to go to Stingray City. The turtle farm, right? I mean, that's it. I think internationally, the turtle farm is viewed quite differently than it is locally. And that's not something to say that that's our fault, but maybe there needs to be a different marketing in that regard about the protection of turtles. I don't know, but we need to, it's just not it's not a fair. You're not comparing apples to apples by comparing stayover and cruise, and I don't think that the argument that was made is that 500 stayover is less than 1.9 million, and all the arguments that he made about it's extra this and on the CUC and all that kind of stuff. I don't really see those points as salient. I really 500 the money generated, it is what it is. That's the Economic Statistics Office. That is there's proof in the pudding with that. That's not a number I've made up. That's not a number that I am arguing for. I'm just using that number because it does demonstrate the wider picture. With regards to the pier unpilings, we don't know what's going to happen in this referendum. If we get a yes vote, we don't know that pilings are going to be the proposed thing. The environmental impact is significant, and the proposal that was done in 2019 was to destroy 12 to 22 acres of coral reef, which, he argued that there's nothing there anymore. There is very much tons of life and tons of coral reef there. And that is not debatable because Eden Rock, all of these dive sites are highly visited attractions. But I just don't understand what his argument was about the 1.9 to the 500,000 stayover, because stayover is, they can spend so much more money. You're talking about the airfare, but then you can talk about the cruise fare. I don't really understand what the argument was with what he was trying to get at, but 500,000 is generating 80% of revenue from tourism. Full stop. It's not the same. We cannot compare. That 1.9 is only getting us 20%. And the Brea report, if you want to talk about something that's not a Cayman Islands document, the Brea report said that they only spend US $116 a day. And that's not necessarily on excursions. That can also be on, probably some of that is spent on jewelry. Well, yeah, maybe that, but jewelry, watches, and other souvenirs, which, let's think about that number. Realistically, whatever they've spent on that, the jewelry stores on island will have had to buy those items from overseas to bring here to then sell at duty-free cost. So whatever they might be spending on that not necessarily the company is going to have to pay some of that to buy back more. So we're not talking an excursion. Yes, it's great because it actually does generate revenue, proper revenue. But that money that's been spent on a watch or a Rolex or jewelry, that some of that money has to pay for the item that they bought overseas. So it's not the same. It's not the same. It's just not. And I'm again to clarify this position because it's very clear that some people believe that we're against cruise. We are not against cruise tourism. We are for cruise tourism, and we are for cruise operators being afforded a proper, livable, thrivable wage. And that means that we have to sometimes look at the bigger picture, that sometimes we might be able to achieve that with less tourists, less congestion, less obstruction, less, less is more. And I
better quality of life.
But a quality of life. And we're not just talking about, for the cruise operators, we're talking about every citizen of the Cayman Islands deserves to have a high quality of life and not be stuck in traffic for 3 hours to get home, on days that are worse with cruise tourism. And I don't know what the number is that the pro-pier lobbyists in the ministry are looking for to get to, but like I said, arguably the 1.9 million that we're at in 2018, 2019 is it was unsustainable at the time, because I'm sure we can all remember how that felt back then. And we've got less roads in town to help divert traffic, and the traffic. I mean, look what happens when we have events that close downtown now, how bad the traffic is. So I think we are not against cruise tourism. We are not against cruise operators. We are for them, but we think that we can get to an achievable, livable, thrivable wage for cruise operators if we have less, if we demand more from the cruise lines, like asking for the full 90 to 95% of the value of the tour. And make it like we have to have our dignity. And I don't think that the cruise lines are a publicly funded company that is out for themselves, and we cannot be beholden to them, and we cannot, and pilings, again, we don't know that that's what the case, and I don't think that that's going to make anything any better. Certainly not going to help encourage coral growth, which is a massive part of how we need to be able to regrow and provide shelter for lobsters, conch, fish, all those things that we enjoy in the winter months. That's where the habitat is. That's where they start. So, we're talking about, quality of life in all aspects, right? So we cannot just be limited on this. And I challenge you to look at your numbers and what you're saying and try and find a more balanced perspective, because I'm not against cruise tourism. I never have been. I've never been against a Caymanian owning and running their own business. But I do think that there is a different way to get there. And I've offered those solutions, and I do think that we need to look at the whole of the country.
Anything you wish to add, Ms. Shirley?
Just to reiterate, we don't manage properly what we have already.
Yep.
And moving forward, if we can't manage what we have, we can't move forward in some way that works for everybody, cruise, stayover, and Caymanians, if we don't know what we're trying to achieve and what we want our tourism product to look like. So piers is not a plan. That's not going to be a solution to the problems that we have here. That is going to compound problems, and we just need to look at a better way of doing things where we all benefit. And piers is not the answer.
Okay. Well, thank you both for coming in. We'll take a quick little PSA to get you. Thanks for the extra time. We'll join the callers after. We'll share some of these comments with you later. All right. Stay tuned. Quick little exit song. And then we'll take the calls. Still, stay tuned.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261. Radio Cayman. Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk Today is brought to you.
Praise, adoration, and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite. Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise him, praise him, praise him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to our guests who always give of their time. We've got a couple of calls to take. We're going to the regular line to take this call. Hey, thanks for sharing. Hello, welcome.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Hey, welcome back, man. Thanks for listening.
Listen, I hate calling twice, and I think I might have missed Shirley and Michelle.
Yeah, they have to go back. Huh?
No, yeah, I understand. I know everybody got their obligations. Just quickly, I heard Mr. Joseph Wood call in to try to mitigate some of what clearly I said, and he made reference to the 20% versus the 80%. But let me just remind Mr. Joseph Hugh that numbers don't lie. I don't care how you try to shape it up. I don't care how you try to fit a square peg in a round hole. Numbers don't lie. 20% of all the revenue generated in tourism come from cruise, 80% comes from stayover. And then you flip it around, 80% of the people who come to the shores are cruise and 20% is stayover. So that's a very telltale thing. Now, to Michelle's point, and I would just say this very briefly because I like to deal with facts and numbers, and so that the listening public have an idea of what really taking place. So the reason why the Cayman Islands government and the people who are supporting Bill and Pair is so that we can accommodate Oasis-sized ships. Reason being is because we have been told by our government that they have been told by the cruise lines that if we don't build a pier to accommodate the bigger ships, we won't call to your port. Well, when the idea of building a pier on piles, let me just give you these numbers so people understand and put it into perspective, right? An Oasis-sized ship, just so people know, is 225,000 tons. It is 1,187 feet long. It's 236 feet high, which is 20 stories high. Okay? So imagine having almost a quarter-mile long ship at 20 stories high, at 154 feet long, in width, at 1,100 feet long, at 150 feet wide, and at 20 stories high. Can you imagine if that is docked up to a pier that is just put on piles into the line, into the shelf that's off near the drop off, and we were to get some sort of intermittent bad weather that comes down on us all of a sudden, and winds were to hit that ship? Do you really believe that those piles would be strong enough to hold that big, massive structure to get off of that, to hold it to that pier without breaking it loose and causing a disaster in that harbor? Listen, there are many things that we're not taking into account. And with Joseph Hugh, with Joseph Wood, you know what he said in that whole thing that he said? He said, we have given up the coral reef. Now we have given up. Who is we and what did we give up? I just think that we're all Caymanians, and I think we all have valid points in regards to what side of the argument we're on. But when it comes to this particular thing, we have the information, Sterling. We have all the information, the numbers, the impacts. The one thing we don't have is what is our carrying capacity? What can we actually accommodate without deteriorating our product? That's just, and I would reiterate that until I die, because those are the facts. So the 80 versus the 20, those are the numbers, Joseph. Go to the ESO website. You will see them. You can't argue around the numbers. Those are the facts. I'm sorry.
All right. Hey, thank you for sharing, man. Have a good afternoon, okay? And then I think 2 final calls. We go to which line first? On our WhatsApp we go. Welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
How are you, man? How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. I hope you're well, too.
I am, thank God.
Thank God, too. I just got the last 20 minutes of the show, so only got Shirley and Michelle there for a little bit. But I did get the caller that called in prior to this one, the gentleman. That's perhaps one of my greatest challenges, Sterling, in many respects. So many of our, I don't know what category to place them in, because some of them are not senior, because a lot of our seniors know better. But there's a certain age group, I say, that, in my view, they come from the generation of Cayman developing. So it's very easy in my mind that they seem to be so easy to give up so much of what we have here, because we did it on the land. It was kind of like, they didn't enjoy the beachside land because they didn't know the value of it. So ignorance. don't know the value of things like the wetlands to Cayman. So easy to give it up or let people tear things down. And so when I listen to that gentleman just go and talk about, we've been dropping anchors for so long, and I'm so glad that Shirley and them pointed that out, because they were exactly right in terms of where they're dropped off. But this whole argument of, well, we've already destroyed, so let's just destroy it all together, which is what we did on land. We've already pushed down enough mangrove swamp, so let's just push some more down. We've already pushed this down, so let's just destroy barkers. That's what we've done, and we still haven't learned. And a lot of it is ignorance. And I say ignorance to the water because many of them are not certified. So like Shirley, I'm a certified diver, and I've also snorkeled an entire harbor. In fact, I got my certification by diving. My first shallow dive, was off of Eden Rock and Devil's Grotto. And so when I hear those kind of arguments, that totally does nothing for me in terms of certainly pushing me one way. Let's just destroy it some more. And I think what's also crucial to mention here, he was speaking as if he knows that if this vote goes through, that we were going to build it in the harbor. And he was given numbers along those lines and the whole thing. And what document is he looking at? He's talking about building pilings. Well, is he looking at a document? Because this vote was supposed to be about whether we should have a cruise ship pier, not what kind of pier, not where it's going. At least that's what I thought, and maybe he has some other information. You see, that's the risk that we take, is to give that carte blanche card or check to the next government without having the details, and that's my problem. Mm-hmm. Like Shirley and like Michelle, I support cruise tourism. I support tourism totally. I know, being a West Bear, the amount of West Bears that are in that industry. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I have family that are in that industry. I have friends that are in that industry, or in that sector of the tourism industry. So I know what we're dealing with, and I know they're concerned based on the fact that they're in that industry. But like how some people can just say it's going to just fall away without really saying it, except that the cruise line say it, and I don't believe that for one iota. I just don't. It doesn't make sense based on the cruise president, for example, Miss Page. I don't take nothing in vain, and I'll close this off quickly, because this can take a lot of connecting dots, but that's how my mind works. When you have the cruise executive, Miss Page, has been coming here for many years to Cayman. A few years ago, just as this new government came on board, and she started talking about revitalizing our on-land attractions and that sort of thing. Nothing they say is in vain. So we had our minister then just get on and talk about offering a scholarship to try to develop new attractions, that sort of thing. Listen, if you're a first-time visitor to Cayman, you don't know what we even had, much less what to expect when you come here. So sometimes I just think they make decisions based on the fact that they've been coming here for many years. That is those executives, so they may be tired of seeing a turtle farm or otherwise. Yeah, am I speculating? Perhaps. Just like I speculate that they're trying to punish us for being so harsh on them in 2020 when the pandemic came. There's lots of places we could go with this, but I'll just say this. And for many of us, the denial of or not wanting to vote yes is not also just about the fact that we're going to destroy our downtown harbor. And I say destroy specifically on purpose. But many of us enjoy natural vistas and views. And I will not vote to put tons of concrete in our downtown harbor. Thank you, man.
Thanks for listening. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. One final call and then 2 comments from our WhatsApp to read. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
And to you. Welcome.
I just wanted to add to what both the gentleman and the previous caller, Ms. Shirley, mentioned, and her co-host or co-guest, the guest. Yes, Ms. Shirley mentioned her parting comment was we're not managing properly what we have, something to that effect.
Right.
And I agree with her, but I'm not talking about the pier, the dock, whatever will happen in the referendum. I'm talking about the biggest tool asset that we have, and the thing that we always ask about: why are we building? Why are we developing Cayman? Are the people. Nobody's looking at the people. Nobody is managing the people properly. I'm talking about did the same people have any input in relation to the minimum wage, the $456, the low wages that they discussed? Did they contribute to that debate some months ago to say the cruise workers should be paid better? I'm not disputing what they're advocating for. I'm just saying that we need to attract more Caymanians into the industry, which is what they mentioned just now, which is true. We need to make training available. I've advocated to ministers and the Department of Tourism for years. Especially this summer, we should have a concentrated program to train new graduates or anyone for that matter. Evening courses for people ladies or men who want to become a chef, a waiter, a concierge. We are not developing our own people, not even from primary and high school, to take these jobs in tourism. So if we're not managing the tourism workers properly, why are we developing all of this? I'm not disputing it. Tourism is great. I love it. I work in tourism. The Turtle Center is great. And by the way, the turtles are about to start laying again. Last year they laid over 28,000 eggs at the Turtle Center. So it's going to be a busy year again, I'm sure. This is great, and it's all environmentally friendly, of course. But we have to consider the workers. The people need to be trained, encouraged, and build the industry. People come here to meet Caymanians. That's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll leave you at that. I've gone scuba diving. I love the underwater. I love the ocean as well. So I know all of that, but we have to develop the people. That's not nowhere in the debates do I hear that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing and championing it from your perspective. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. To the caller's point, as we read the last two messages from WhatsApp, there was a caller who called and saying, as a taxi and tour operator, are going to many days. She reminded us just again this week, where make little or nothing, and one day $60, and then the others out there longer, who were there before she came or thereafter and didn't make as much, if any. So again, the question is, the benefit and impact. One listener writes, so cruise ships are allowed to destroy coral with these anchors? Interesting. And according to the last EIA, there was still coral in the harbor. Well, we read this one. It's in relation, says, regarding the NCC, that's the National Conservation Council Board replacement. This listener writes, the truth is that it was long overdue. The Department of Environment handpicked members on the previous board had completely abrogated their statutory duties and functions and simply delegated those functions to the director of the DOE. By analogy, it was the same as if the CPA had delegated all of their decision-making functions to the director of planning, and the CPA then only met every once in a while to ratify whatever he did. Imagine if that were to ever happen. The government has obviously now decided that the director of DOE's continued usurpation of the NCC board should no longer continue, and accordingly have now appointed a group of stalwart local members of significant experience, repute and knowledge who will, without a doubt, not abdicate their functions to the director of DOE, which, as a matter of law, should never be permitted, especially in light of the fact that the Public Authorities Act, which supersedes the NCA, prohibits civil servants from voting, counting as quorum, and chairing any statutory authority. And most of the new appointees are without question recognized public figures with a proven track record of defending the interests of the rule of law and the best interests of Cayman, compared to those who are myopically focused on carrying out an environmental agenda. We need to remember that no matter what a statutory board is set up to do, its board members must discharge their functions objectively and fairly, without external interference. Anyone in their right mind should trust this board much more in that regard than the last one. Thanks to our listener for sharing those topics and comments. Hey, have a wonderful rest of this afternoon. God's willing, you join us again tomorrow for more Talk Today, but invite you to be a part of the continued ongoing discussion. For the record, ably hosted and facilitated by Mr. Art Corner, bringing you and Susan said, don't forget to wish people happy Valentine's tomorrow. Yeah. All right. We will do that tomorrow. But as they say, mañana no supersedes el día. So today we shall be part of what happens. Have a wonderful afternoon. Ay, 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 ay. Mi mamacita. All right, enjoy your afternoon. And God's willing, we shall see you tomorrow. Take care.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.